Have you ever ended a long day feeling completely exhausted, your mind tired, but when you look back, you realize you didn't do anything truly important? Maybe you spent 2 or even 3 hours scrolling through social media, watching one video after another, or getting lost in a video game. The time passed so quickly you didn't even notice. You were completely focused, with 0 distractions. But then, what happened when you decided to open a book, to sit down and learn a new skill, or to start an important project? Suddenly, 30 minutes felt like an eternity. Your mind started to wander, and you felt an irresistible urge to reach for your phone. You felt bored, restless, and a voice inside whispered, "Come on, just take a little break. You can do it later." This paradox, this painfully familiar feeling, isn't just your problem. It's a shared experience for an entire generation, and it plants a toxic seed of self-blame in our minds. Am I lazy? Do I lack willpower? Why can other people do it, but I can't? Today, I want to tell you a truth that might surprise you. You are not lazy. You do not lack discipline. What you are experiencing is not a failure of character. It is the result of an invisible biological battle happening right now inside your brain. A battle where the most powerful manipulator is a tiny molecule called dopamine. Welcome to the English Richness podcast. In today's episode, we will not only expose this manipulator, we will decode how it works and understand why it has the power to make useful things feel boring and useless things feel so attractive. And most importantly, I will give you the map, a scientifically proven strategy to hack your brain's reward system, so you can find joy and motivation in doing the hard things. This isn't just a story. It's one of the most important life lessons for our modern world. Stay with me on this journey, because when you understand the secret of dopamine, you won't just get your focus back. You will take back control of your life. When we hear the word dopamine, most of us immediately think of the pleasure molecule or the happiness molecule. We believe that dopamine is released when we enjoy something, like eating a delicious piece of cake or receiving a compliment. But this is the most common and dangerous misunderstanding. Leading neuroscientists have shown that dopamine's main role is not to create pleasure. Instead, it is the molecule of desire. Listen carefully to this sentence, because it changes everything. Dopamine is what makes us desire things, and it's that desire that gives us the motivation to get up and do stuff. It is the neurotransmitter responsible for anticipation, for craving, and for the drive to act to get a potential reward. It's released before you act, as a promise of future pleasure, not during the pleasure itself. This is a critical difference. It means your brain is constantly making decisions about what to do next based on one single question. How much dopamine will this action release? If an activity promises to release a huge amount of dopamine, like playing a video game, your brain will scream, "Do it! Do it now!" But if an activity promises only a small amount of dopamine, like reading a dry document, your brain will whisper, "That's boring, don't do it. Find something more fun," understanding that your problem isn't with your ability to feel pleasure, but with your system for creating desire, frees you from the weight of self-blame. You're not lazy. Your motivation system is just calibrated incorrectly. To show you the incredible power of dopamine in controlling behavior, let me tell you a true story, a shocking story from the laboratory. Decades ago, scientists conducted a classic experiment. They implanted tiny electrodes into the reward center of rats' brains. Every time a rat pulled a lever in its cage, the electrode was activated, releasing a direct burst of dopamine into its brain. The result was astonishing. The rats quickly developed an intense craving, an uncontrollable addiction. They ignored everything else. They forgot their hunger and thirst. They didn't want to sleep or mate. Their entire existence was reduced to a single action: pulling the lever. They pulled the lever hundreds, even thousands of times per hour, over and over without stopping, until their tiny bodies collapsed from exhaustion. They chose an artificial dopamine high over life itself. But the story doesn't end there. The scientists then reversed the process. They used a chemical to completely block the release of dopamine in the brains of another group of rats. And an equally tragic scene unfolded. These rats became completely lethargic and indifferent. They lost all will to live. They wouldn't get up to drink water, even when they were dying of thirst. They wouldn't look for food, even when they were starving. They just lay there, craving nothing. What was the most remarkable part? If the scientists placed food directly into their mouths, they would still chew, swallow, and enjoy it. Their ability to feel pleasure was still there. What they had lost was the motivation to act to get that pleasure. These two opposite images, a rat in a frenzy of desire and a rat paralyzed by indifference, show the life and death power of dopamine. And if you look closely, you can see a reflection of ourselves in them. Perhaps you're thinking, that story is extreme. I'm not like those rats. Are you sure? Think about the digital cage we live inside. Our dopamine lever today isn't a physical object. It's our phone screen, a mouse click, a swipe of a finger. The modern world has created a hyper-stimulating environment where our brains are constantly flooded with abnormally high levels of dopamine. Social media. Every like, every comment, every new notification is a small dopamine hit. The infinite scroll is a perfect random reward machine, always promising that the next interesting piece of content is just a swipe away. Video games, carefully designed to maximize dopamine release with levels, rewards, and unexpected victories. Internet pornography offers extreme novelty and stimulation, creating one of the strongest artificial dopamine sources. Junk food and fast food, made with the perfect formula of sugar, salt, and fat to directly attack the brain's reward center. All of these things use a core element that makes them so addictive: the mechanism of random rewards. Like a person playing a slot machine in a casino, we constantly pull the lever, check our phones, hoping to hit the jackpot. See a message, a notification, an interesting video. We don't know when the reward will come, and that uncertainty makes the dopamine release even stronger. We are becoming like the first group of rats, constantly pulling the lever, looking for the next dopamine hit, without realizing that this very action is destroying our motivation for the things that truly matter. This is why focused English listening practice can feel so difficult, because it offers a delayed, steady reward, not a quick, unpredictable one. How is this possible? The answer lies in an ancient defense mechanism in our bodies. The human body has a wonderful biological system called homeostasis. Its goal is simple: to keep everything inside the body in a stable condition. When it's cold, your body temperature drops, and you start to shiver to create heat. When it's hot, your body temperature rises, and you sweat to cool down. Your body is always trying to return to a baseline, a state of balance. This mechanism also applies perfectly to your brain chemistry. When you constantly flood your brain with unusually high levels of dopamine, your wise brain recognizes a dangerous imbalance. It thinks, "Whoa, this dopamine level is too high. It's not normal. I need to do something to bring it down." and it begins to self-regulate by reducing the number or sensitivity of your dopamine receptors. Imagine these receptors are like locks for the dopamine keys to fit into. When there are too many keys, the brain covers up some of the locks. What is the result? You develop what is called dopamine tolerance. Your brain gets used to having high levels of dopamine, and those levels become your new normal. This is the root of the problem. When your new normal has been pushed so high by games, social media, and junk food, then activities that release only a modest amount of dopamine, like reading, studying, or working hard, are no longer enough. They fall below your stimulation threshold. Your brain labels them as boring. And you feel a strong resistance when trying to do them because they don't provide the amount of dopamine your brain now expects and craves. You have accidentally trained your brain to only desire high stimulation. And as a result, you lose motivation for the low stimulation activities that create long-term value. This is a critical challenge to overcome in your journey of self-improvement. So, is there a way out of this trap? Is there a way to reset our brain's reward system, to make normal tasks feel interesting again? The answer is yes, and it's called a dopamine detox. The goal of a dopamine detox is simple: to give your dopamine receptors a rest period so they can recover their natural sensitivity. Imagine you've eaten at the fanciest restaurant in town every single day for a year. The best food has become your standard. Now, if someone offers you a bowl of plain rice, you would find it tasteless and refuse it. But if you were lost on a deserted island and starving for days, suddenly that bowl of plain rice would become the most delicious meal in the world. A dopamine detox works on the same principle. It starves you of high stimulation, and as a result, the activities that were once boring become more appealing. There are two main strategies to do this. Strategy 1. The radical method. One day. This is the fastest way to see results. Choose one day, like a Sunday, and commit to avoiding all high-stimulation activities. No internet, no social media, no phone, no computer, unless for an urgent work task. No music, no podcasts, no TV, no junk food, no masturbation. Basically, you will remove all sources of external pleasure. You will actively embrace boredom. And trust me, you will feel very restless at first. But here is what you are allowed to do. Go for a walk. Meditate. Reflect on your life and your goals. Write down your ideas in a notebook with a pen. When you deprive your brain of all easy entertainment, it will start to get hungry for stimulation. And when boredom reaches its peak, suddenly the idea of reading a book or cleaning your house won't seem so bad. In fact, it might even seem quite attractive. Strategy 2. The moderate path, 1 day per week. If the radical method is too much for you, start slowly. Choose one high dopamine behavior you want to control the most. E.g., scrolling Instagram, playing video games, binge-watching a series. Choose 1 day of the week, for example, Saturday. On that day, commit to completely avoiding that one activity for the entire day. You can still do other things, but the door to that specific source of high dopamine will be closed. The small amount of boredom this creates will become the motivation to push you to do other things you usually postpone. Both strategies aim to reset your baseline. But a detox is only the first step. The next and most powerful step is to learn how to make dopamine your ally. Instead of completely eliminating high dopamine activities, this strategy turns them into a tool to boost your productivity. It's based on a simple principle our parents taught us as children. Finish your vegetables, and then you can have dessert. The golden rule is, high dopamine rewards only come after you have completed a set amount of low dopamine work. If you do it the other way around, if you scroll social media before you work, you will spend your entire motivation budget and will have no desire left to do the hard work. Here is how you can build your own system. Make a list. List the low dopamine tasks you need to do: reading, exercising, cleaning, writing a report, and the high dopamine activities you love: watching Netflix, playing games, browsing YouTube. Set a ratio. Create a rule for yourself. For example, for every 60 minutes of focused work, low dopamine, I will reward myself with 15 minutes of entertainment, high dopamine, at the end of the day. Execute with discipline. If you work for 8 hours a day, based on that ratio, you will have a fund of 2 hours to enjoy your favorite activities in the evening without feeling guilty. You will enjoy them more because you know you have earned them. This system helps you connect the feeling of desire with productive tasks. Over time, your brain will learn that the only way to get the exciting reward is to get through the challenge first. You are retraining it to crave the process of working. An important note: if you are truly addicted to something that is harmful to your health, alcohol, gambling, do not use it as a reward. Find a different reward that is healthier but still attractive enough. This is a key step for any real self-improvement. This way, you are no longer a slave to dopamine. You become the manager, directing its flow to serve your long-term goals. We have journeyed deep inside the brain together. We discovered that procrastination and lack of motivation are not your fault, but a biological response to a hyper-stimulating world. We have learned that dopamine is not pleasure, but desire. A double-edged sword that can push us to exhaustion or leave us paralyzed in indifference. But most importantly, we have realized that we are not helpless. We now have powerful strategies in our hands, from detoxing to reset our brain's sensitivity, to the art of turning dopamine into a reward, an ally on our path to achieving great things. Ultimately, we are all dopamine addicts to some extent. And that's a good thing, because it's what drives us to improve ourselves and achieve our goals. The question is not how to get rid of dopamine, but rather, where will you choose to get your dopamine from? Will you let the endless streams of dopamine from short-term distractions carry you away, leaving you feeling empty at the end of the day? Or will you be the one who builds the dam, directing that powerful flow towards meaningful work, towards the effort that builds the future you desire? The choice is yours. It is always yours. If you found value in our story today, please share it with a friend, a colleague, or anyone you think is also fighting this silent battle. And leave a comment below. Share which lesson was most meaningful to you, or which strategy you will start using today. Here at English Richness, we believe that the best way to learn English is through story. These aren't just stories for English listening practice. They are powerful life lessons for your self-improvement journey. Please subscribe so we can continue to walk this path together. Better English. Better life.